Good day, everyone. I am Althea Jane Lagare, and I am the first reporter of developing tests to measure grammatical ability. In previous chapters, this context of grammar assessment were considered and the nature of grammatical ability defined for assessment purposes. Building on the procedures for designing grammar test tasks, this chapter addressed the process of grammar test construction, that is, the principles underlying the design, development, and the scoring of grammatical assessments. To do this, I will first describe the characteristics of useful tests so that these qualities may be used to drive the test development process. We conclude in the last chapter that the goal of every grammar test was to obtain and provide information on how well a student knows or can use grammar to convey meaning in some situation where the target language is used. The responses to the test items can be then used as a basis for assigning scores and for making inferences about the student's underlying grammatical ability. So, what makes a test useful? We discussed these responses in terms of interferences because it is not possible to observe a person's grammatical ability directly rather than we must infer the underlying ability from responses to questions or from samples of actual performance. Since responses to test items are ultimately converted into scores, we say we can make score-based inferences about an examinee's grammatical ability. These inferences provide information to test takers and other test users. They consider a test useful for any particular testing situation to the extent that it possesses a balance of the following six complementary qualities: the reliability, construct validity, authenticity, interactiveness, impact, and practicality. Given the importance of these qualities for grammar assessment, I will describe them in some detail. So the first one is the quality of reliability. When we talk about reliability in reference to a car, we all know what that means. A car is said to be reliable if it readily starts up every time you want to use it regardless of the weather, the time of the day, or the user. It is also considered reliable if the brakes never fail and the steering is consistently responsive. These mechanical functions working together make the car performance anywhere from 0 to 100% reliable. Similarly, the scores from tests or components of tests can also be characterized as being reliable when the tests provide the same result every time we administer them, regardless of the conditions under which they are administered. In other words, test scores should not fluctuate drastically as a result of the time of the test administration. The form of the test used, provided there exists from more than one form, or the raters who might have scored the responses. This consistency of measurement is referred to as test reliability, and it ranges on a scale from 0 to 1. The quality of construct validity. The second quality that all useful tests possess is construct validity. Bachman and Palmer in 1996 defined construct validity as the extent to which we can interpret a given test scores as an indicator of the abilities or constructs we want to measure. Construct validity also has to do with the domain of generalization to which our score interpretations generalize. In other words, construct validity not only refers to the meaningfulness and appropriateness of the interpretations we make based on test scores, but it also pertains to the degree to which the score-based interpretations can be extrapolated beyond the testing situation to a particular domain. Misick in 1993, construct validity of score-based interpretations needs to be supported through the collection and analysis of data, grounded in research and theory. The quality of authenticity. A third quality of test usefulness is authenticity, a notion much discussed in language testing since the late 1970s, when communicative approaches to language teaching were first taking root. Building on these discussions, Bachman and Palmer in 1996 referred the authenticity as the degree of correspondence between the test task characteristics and the TLU task characteristics. Given the framework for test task characteristics discussed in Chapter 5, they provide a systematic way of matching test task with TLU task in terms of the features of the test, setting, rubrics, and input, expected response, and the relationship between the input and response. Bachman and Palmer's framework provides an empirical basis for further research and, from the point of view of test development, an intuitively appealing scheme for defining authenticity and for providing authenticity evidence. In sum, test authenticity resides in the relationship between the characteristics of the TLU domain and the characteristics of the test tasks. And although a test task may be highly authentic, this does not necessarily mean it will engage the test taker's grammatically ability. For this, we turn to the quality of interactiveness. The quality of interactiveness. A fourth quality of test usefulness outlined by Bachman and Palmer in 1996 is interactiveness. This quality refers to the degree to which the aspects of the test taker's language ability we want to measure are engaged by the test task characteristics based on the test constructs. In other words, the task should engage the characteristics we want to measure given the test purpose, and nothing else otherwise. This may mask the very construct we are trying to measure. In the case of grammar assessment test, tasks can be characterized as interactive to the extent that they require individuals to draw on and manage their cognitive and metacognitive strategies, especially in their strategic competence, in order to use grammatical knowledge accurately and meaningfully. The quality of impact. Testing plays an important role in society. Tests serve as gatekeeping devices or doors to opportunity. They can use to punish and to praise. It is therefore important to recognize that tests reflect and represent the social, cultural, and political values of any given society. And in the evaluation of test usefulness, we must take into the consideration the possible consequences that may ensue from the decision to use test result for decision making. Bachman and Palmer in 1996 referred to the degree to which testing and test score decisions influence all aspects of society and the individuals within the society as test impact. The quality of practicality. Scores from a grammar test could be highly reliable and provide a basis for making valid inferences, but at the same time, completely lacking in practicality. It may be completely beyond our means with respect to the available human, material, or time resources. Test practicality is not a quality of a test itself, but it is a function of the extent to which we are able to balance the cost associated with designing, developing, administering, and scoring a test in light of the available resources. For example, we may want to include limited and extended production tasks in a grammar test to measure students' explicit as well as their implicit knowledge of grammar. So in the test design stage, we need to decide how important this is in relation to the other qualities of the test.
Thank you for watching and listening.